Whenever. We're chill. Ooh, mics are on. I'm sure that means that people on channel 2 can hear me. I'm so sorry, people on channel 2. I'll be ready to start singing at any point. Or rapping. Or beatboxing. This is awkward. What do you think, Sarah? Oh, we're on? Oh, excellent. We're on air. Lovely.
Are we?
According to Mr. Eads, who is our excellent IT consultant / vice chair of the town council. So everybody, welcome. Tonight is Wednesday, June 10th, 2026. Normally we meet on Mondays, and normally we don't have executive session first, but we are going to start it off with an exciting twist tonight. Is there a motion for us to recess into executive session?
I'll make a motion that we recess into an executive session.
Is there a second? All right. All those in favor? Unanimous, Brenda. All right. We are now in executive session. Stay tuned, folks.
See you in an hour.
to come in. Just as a heads up for anyone who is interested and is watching at home, we just had an executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A Retail Manager's Evaluation and 4056C potential land acquisition. And we're just going to take a minute to get our esteemed town manager and our communications director in here, and then we'll get a wiggle on. But in the meantime, thank you to everybody out there who came and voted yesterday. We had excellent turnout, over 50%, which is really exciting and is a wonderful homage to public engagement. Here they are, everyone, the amazing, ravishing Whitney Hankin and the ravishing Matthew Sturgis. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for... And just everyone at home, they are not late. We had an executive session that ran a few minutes over, so we were just too long-winded during our chatty time. All right, we will call this meeting officially to order. First up tonight, we have the approval of minutes from the May 26, 2026 meeting.
I'll give you a motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Any abstentions? 1 abstention. Motion carries. Next up, we have the manager's report. What's shaking, Mr. Sturgis?
Just my keyboard, Madam Chair. I just need a quick half a second. There we go. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Good to see everyone. And councilors, good to see you all this evening. I have a number of items to update the council on this evening. First of all is hot off yesterday's election. I have an election update. No changes, so don't be concerned about that. Yesterday was June 9th, and it was Election Day in Cumberland, as well as the rest of the state of Maine. 2 members were elected to the town council. Chair Brooke Tig Filson was re-elected to the town center seat, and William Bill Follett was elected to the at-large seat. So congratulations to both candidates. Also, Sarah Staples and David Noonan were elected to the school board to represent the town of Cumberland. So congratulations as well. This was a high volume vote for a June election. Extremely impressive, with 53% of the 7,200 voters turning out. Of that number, roughly 1,600 were absentee, and of the 1,600 absentee, only 80 were not returned, which that is an astounding return rate. So we were able to take them up until polls closed last night, and so they did. Nothing afterwards, so the count was done last evening. So I do want to also give a huge round of applause and thanks to our amazing town clerk, Jennifer Doughton, and her clerk's team, as well as all the dedicated election volunteers and workers for their hard work and professionalism throughout the day. We were very lucky and blessed to have such many good hands helping us all out, and that was outstanding. Also, our voting public, I want to thank them for such an amazing turnout, as well as their civic energy. Next item up for bid is Middle Road and Tuttle Road intersection 4-way stop is coming this Friday, actually. It's been up there noted on the message board for the past couple of weeks that that new traffic pattern ahead, the new pattern is the 4-way stop. So that's all part of the new traffic pattern and part of the project of the Maine DOT and replacing the bridge over on Tuttle Road that goes over 295. That was planned, and so we've got that on the website as well as we've had the message boards, but please be aware. They were thinking about doing it last fall, just before winter, but you know, staff raised their concerns that trying to make that change coming into the dark part of the year would have been hard. It's a challenge, so we're going to wait till the longest days of the year are available so people can see the signs quickly enough. But we're looking forward to that. The Cumberland Housing Authority met on June 1st to review the year's work plan, set the annual operating budget, and establish rental rates for the fiscal year. Rental rates will be increasing in there by 4% over the current rates, but that is following no increase last year. So it averages 2% per year. One of the takeaways from the Housing Authority's last meeting was, from input from residents that they'd like to see, annual increases, but of a lower percentage. And then last year, because there was some changing of the overall rates, felt that it would have been too aggressive last year to make the wholesale change on the rate as well as as percentage increase. So we'll be doing. I think the plan is to take those types of actions going forward. Prince Memorial Library has got a lot of exciting stuff about to happen. Their summer shindig and summer reading programs are about to kick off. So the summer shindig is going to be on June 13th, which is this weekend, and that's going to be from 1 to 3 p.m. That event is going to feature live music with Robbie Neeb, hula hoop jam with Nettie Loops. There's going to be lawn games, face painting, and a pop-up book sale from the Friends of the PML. The event will be held rain or shine, so circle your calendar. The summer reading program, the summer shindig will also mark the start of the summer reading program, and summer is a very program-rich season for the PML, and the library's website includes a strong lineup of their programming opportunities for residents of all ages. So if you're looking for something to do, the PML is a great place to start. Route 100 roundabout update. This is great news. Last week, Chris Bolduc and I had the chance to sit down with our friends at Maine DOT and the engineering team that's involved in that. Let's see. So they gave us an update on the project. The project does continue to move forward in an aggressive fashion. They've got a lot of moving parts there. Right now, the engineering and survey work. The engineering work is ongoing, but the survey work has been completed and progress on engineering is ongoing. Maine DOT and its engineering team are planning to hold a preliminary virtual public meeting for this project. And that's going to be a virtual one, so it'll be online. They've had better luck with people being able to come to that versus in person early in the project. Obviously, they'll come back, and I think their plan is to come back later in the fall to sit down with the council and be, because they asked, well, would the council like to do that virtually or in person? I said in person. I said because, that way we can have it recorded and public can also come. So look on that for your radar for later this, after the summer, but this fall. So that's very exciting. Let's see, the project website will be active from June 29th through July 15th. And during that time, people will be able to comment and ask questions through the online portal. So they can, if you have a question about it, you want to raise it, they will receive that, and they'll provide a response from that. We'll probably get what they're proposing up on the website tomorrow. So we're going to get ahead of the 29th. That way people can have some time to think about what they may have for questions and digest it a little bit more. But between now and June 29th, abutting property owners will receive letters about the project. And the website, we'll have on the town's website, and we'll continue to post links, project materials, as well as their contact information. We'll put that all on the town's website. The Route 100 safety improvements, if you've been over that way, you will notice that they are ongoing. There's a lot of progress being made there. The road, the Lower Methodist portion right now, and the shoulder work is ongoing. Part of what they ran into with that was they have had to remove the old concrete highway that is underneath the asphalt. So that's about 8 inches thick of concrete that was over there. And
Surprise!
Yeah, it's been impressive to watch. And but the traffic's moving along pretty well over there. So I think they've done a great job managing that. They are looking at doing some work as it advances up more towards the J Brothers end of Route 100. They may be looking at doing some night work up there, so it'll be less disruptive to the public as well as to the business. So we can try to peacefully coexist and successfully coexist with their interests as well. So if we can do some of that work at night when they're not busy and open, and then they can have their normal customers come through, it may diminish the impact that it may have for negative impact on the business numbers. So, but if you see that in the future, don't be surprised. They're considering that right now. But that project's moving along on pace and at cost, so we're in good shape. Regional collaboration. A regional collaboration meeting was held on May 27th with representatives from Falmouth, Freeport, North Yarmouth, and our beloved Cumberland. The meeting continued the discussion about opportunities for collaboration and shared services. The next meeting is scheduled for June 17th. That would be next Wednesday at 4 p.m. at Yarmouth Town Hall. The anticipated purpose of that meeting is to report back on school outreach. So we're looking to reach out to the superintendents or representatives from the SADs or their school districts to see about if they would be willing to join us in this venture going forward and have the conversation. Part of that would be spurring from the fact that roughly, for each of the towns, 70 plus or minus % of their annual budgets or their annual tax bill is spoken for by their school entity, and it would be responsible to bring them in and have that conversation. So we don't want to leave them out of that dialogue. So we'll be reaching out to see if they'd like to come to that meeting. You should anticipate. We're also looking at, doing that outreach and then continue refining the broader meeting framework and prepare for a larger regional discussion after the summer. And that would be more of an outreach to each of the town's select boards or councils to say, would you like to come along for a larger electeds discussion? So we're trying to see that keep moving forward. And then finally, it is kind of a plug, but also a public safety or public service announcement. The Trek Across Maine will be coming through Cumberland. That's going to be, I guess, please be advised that next Sunday, which is Father's Day, the Trek Across Maine will be passing through town of Cumberland. It'll be strictly on Forside Road. So it's not going to be a gigantic cluster of riders, but there will be a steady stream, probably somewhere between about 7 a.m. and early afternoon. It'll be similar to, but a little bit greater volume than a normal weekend day in the summertime. There are no road closures involved, just sharing of the road, and I'm just sharing this information. So if you do want to avoid it, please be advised that there are other options around. Middle Road's a perfectly good example to use, as well as 295. I'll be there monitoring and making sure that people are being responsible and riding with the other 800 or so riders. And that's, roughly, it's in support of the American Lung Association, with the Trek being their single largest fundraising event. And I do say that they, tongue-in-cheek, they do send me a letter, as they do to all the towns along the way, to let us know. And I usually get a note in there saying that, in case you forgot, the Trek's coming through. But so that's all I have this evening, Madam Chair.
Yeah, go for it, Mike.
A couple of follow-ups, Matt. Sometime in the near future, can the police chief update us what his dealing is going to be with Gray? If you don't know, they did not even put on the ballots law enforcement at all. So Gray's going to have no dedicated police. Just have Chip just send us something or let us know what his plans are.
We can definitely do that. Yeah, I noticed, yesterday, because I voted as well up in Gray, it was awful close, but there was a groundswell of folks saying to vote down the town's budget so they could have the opportunity to come back and say, we need to talk about this. But we will definitely, Chief would be happy to come and talk about it, or at the minimum provide a memo. But also, I'm sure he'd be happy to come and say this is what our regional plan is for that.
And my last question is, who made the decision about converting Middle and Tuttle to a four-way? Did you or the state?
That was the state.
Okay.
Yep, that was state. That was one of their. That's one of their traffic. Partly due to crash data that they've had down there. They said, well, once we're doing this, because I think Councilor Eads, what their plan is, because I think they're anticipating that the speeds are going to pick up once that bridge is improved. And especially because the alignment might be a little bit straighter. That they feel that the speed was going to go there. So I think they're trying to look at both crash data as well as anticipated future speeds through there. So that was the main dot decision.
And I appreciate the Matt. I know that we have a council that's very much in support of it. I'm not. And I'm only because I'm worried about trading one problem for another.
Yeah.
And the problem has not been from Tuttle Road. It's been Middle Road. But if it's DOT, it's DOT. And I respect both views. I have my concern with backed up traffic, especially at rush hour.
Yeah, it's,
Coming
I
up
mean,
over
weekend
two hills.
traffic down there, it'll be stacked up pretty good too. I mean, I'm through there quite a bit on the weekends, and Saturday morning, that is a busy stretch. So I
is.
know what you mean.
Well, thank
But-
you very
but
much.
yeah, that was there, Councilor Eads. So yeah, thanks for
Appreciate
the
it.
question.
Just wait until the four-way stop at Greeley Extension, Greeley Road, and Main Street. That's gonna be real fun.
Yeah.
Another MDOT, right?
Yeah, that was, I mean, that was their recommendation. I know, you know, I will say that they did give us the opportunity to say, you know, you don't have to do it. At the same time, the liability question at that point would say, well, you know, one attorney would say, well, so they told you that you should put a four-way stop in there. My client was grievously injured at this, but you said it's not important, or you don't think it's supported. So that's kind of, we didn't really want to push back too hard on their recommendation on that one either. This one here was, they just said, we're putting a four-way
We're
stop in
doing it,
here.
yeah.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Understood.
Just,
I think Bob and then Jeff, maybe.
oh, sorry. Nope.
I wouldn't favor a four-way at Greeley and Maine. You know, I think that's more problems and, you know, gonna create more problems there, even worse than down the Middle Road, because there's not the ramp up that you have.
But that's in
For
play,
sure.
right? I think that,
Yeah, that was part of the
that's
traffic.
already happening,
That was,
yeah.
that was part of the traffic management.
That one's not our, we don't have any choice on that one. But we do have a choice on Maine and Greeley.
I don't think so.
I thought you just said we had I thought you just told me we had a choice.
We could push back on it, and, but that was part of their traffic management approval that they had for the school project. We could push back on it, and we could be successful. At the same time, I know we've also received a lot of folks who said, I think that's, you know, there's been support from the neighborhood up on the extension as well, because the darn Forsythia is on the corner.
We can revisit this during new business if we want to as well. Jeff, did you have a comment?
My question was just real quick, just following up on the welcome to Cumberland signs for Route 100. I didn't know if we had any movement on those or,
As of today, Councilor Mahalik,
Yeah.
yeah, we got the bids back. We're using graphics right
Yep.
here in town,
Yep.
and we got one. Let's just say that they're upcoming shortly.
Okay.
Would be the summarization I give you. I think the campaign season might have pushed us down the food chain a little bit because there's
sure.
more money to be made at that point in time, but everything should be coming forward. We should have a final proof this week and production shortly thereafter.
Awesome.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks for your patience. And plus, we had to wait for the ground to thaw out too, so
Sure.
Chris and the team will get some 5x5s up, and then we'll have them mounted
We might as well wait for the construction to be done before.
on certain
this point,
parts.
But yeah,
But there are other opportunities we can put in,
Sure.
for sure. But,
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, let's move into public discussion. Public discussion is for comments on items that are not on the agenda. Comments are limited to 5 minutes per person. Rebuttal comments will be limited to 2 minutes. Public discussion topics may be brought up again under new business for further council discussion. Is there anyone here in the esteemed audience who would like to come up for part of public discussion? All right, that is a negative. We will move into legislation and policy. Also, there is the opportunity for public comment per Article 2, Section 7 of the Town Charter. There will be an opportunity for public comment on each item on the agenda. Comments are limited to 5 minutes per person. If the council would humor me here, 26-058 is consideration on moving a date of our next town council meeting. I think that it might make sense for agenda item 26-056 for us to go out of order
Because it would potentially.
because that would
impact-
impact the date of the public hearing.
Yeah.
Is that okay with everybody? Okay, great. So we are going to go slightly out of order and first hit 26-058 to consider an act on rescheduling the June 22nd Town Council meeting to June 29th. As folks may or may not know, we made the decision this year to kind of to change up the swearing in of our new town councilors, that it happens to align with our financial year, which starts on July 1st. Right?
Yep.
Yes, okay, great. Just making sure I got the date right. So with that in mind, we'd like to possibly have the discussion of moving our final meeting in June to the 29th, also so that we can properly say our goodbye to Councillor Douglas, who would not be available on June 22nd because she is going on family vacation. I feel very strongly about having the opportunity to thank our counselor for her service. Also, I personally have a conflict on June 22nd, so I will not be able to attend. How do other folks feel? Is there any pushback on doing a switcheroo to the 29th, or thoughts?
Just for Bailey, that reason alone.
Oh my God, Mike.
Yes.
I will say for the record, Councillor Douglas did want to do an Irish goodbye. We're not going to let her do that. We're going to hold her accountable, and we are going to properly say goodbye to her.
I just like to fly under the radar.
Never.
Yeah.
Need a motion, Madam Chair?
I would take a motion if there is one.
I will give you a motion that we reschedule our June 22nd council meeting for Monday, June 29th.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Unanimous. All right, excellent. Okay, so going back to 26-056, to set a public hearing of June 22nd to consider an act on a liquor license renewal for First Track Investments LLC for the period of July 24th, 2026 to July 25th, 2027. If I am not mistaken, this is we would now be setting the public hearing to June 29th, based on the decision that we just made. And also for those who are not familiar with First Track Investments, this would be for the Cumberland Fair, so that they can have their, right?
No,
Fair
for
tent?
this would be for for Michael Chincat running the horse track, the horse racing.
But it's a liquor license?
Yes. Yep.
But at the fair, right?
At the fairgrounds.
At the fairgrounds, sorry, at the fairgrounds. Apologies, I didn't
my
get
bad.
that. No, I didn't get it quite right. So at the Cumberland Fairgrounds, but tonight the action would be to set the date for the 29th for the public hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
That said, before we get into council discussion, is there anyone in the public that would like to talk about horse racing or liquor in horse racing?
No.
Okay, all right, we will close public comment on that and open
guess
it to council discussion. Mr. Magoon.
Matt, before we have the public hearing on this, can we get a signed lease with dates and all? The one we have right now is just the blank form from 2021 that is just words, but nothing's actually signed on it or filled in.
We can take care of that, Counselor.
I don't see anything. I'd give you a motion.
Any other discussion?
None from me.
This is just for setting a date.
Setting the
This is not
date,
for
correct.
review of the application.
Nope. Just for setting the date. All right, it sounds like someone's ready to give a motion.
Yes, I'll give a motion.
Let's hear it.
Let me get out my paper here. I move to set a public hearing date of June 29th to consider an act on a liquor license renewal for First Track Investments LLC for the period of July 24th, 2026 to July 25th, 2027.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Hello? All those in favor, everyone? Okay.
I have my hand up.
Is that it? Okay, great. Unanimous, Brenda. Sorry,
So-
there were some subtle hand gestures and.
We like to keep
Gee
you on your
whiz.
toes.
You guys are
Like being-
keeping me on my toes.
Like
You're
being at
like,
an auction.
oh my gosh. It's a good thing this is happening the day after the election, not before, because ability to track a meeting ain't looking so good right now. Okay, next up, our final agenda item in legislation and policy is 26-057 to authorize the town manager to execute a 3-year contract with Cumberland County for general assistance administrative services. Mr. Manager, do you want to talk about this a little bit? I know it's worked out pretty beautifully for us, but just a high level would be appreciated if you'd be willing to give one.
I would be happy to, Madam Chair. Thank you for asking. Yes, the town currently uses Cumberland County to manage and administer our general assistance. This goes back roughly about, I want to say, 6 years, maybe 7 tops, whereas Cumberland and a number of other towns had used Opportunity Alliance to do and administer general assistance for the towns. And it worked well for a number of years. And then they decided their business model wasn't going to be able to support that anymore, and it was partly due to staffing changes. So I know at the time when I was in Cape and Bill was here, we both, probably within about 5 minutes of each other, reached out to the county and asked Mr. Gailey if that would be an area of opportunity the county would like to step into. And they jumped in with both feet. And we've had the great luck of having Paige Kambakis do that work for us, who Mr. Gailey promptly stole from working for the city of South Portland. And she's done a great job for us here. So what we're looking at now is just a continuation of the agreement. And so this would be an updated new contract for a 3-year term. But very satisfied with the level of service, as well as the ability to, take care of our folks here in town, but also do it in a very cost-effective manner. And it's an example of really a great regional collaboration in the county, finding a solution in an area that a lot of towns basically ran into the same challenge at the same time. So it's grown, which has been great, but it's really worked out well.
I think going back to when we approved this, I think we also liked the fact that there was a little bit of, I wouldn't say distance, but that Paige kind of comes in, has her set hours, and there's a level of privacy for some folks that may want access to these types of services. And I think we kind of viewed that as a net positive at the time. But that said, before we get into council discussion, is there anyone in the public that would like to comment on this particular agenda item? Okay, we will close public comment and move into council discussion. Denise?
After I go through my list, let me know if I forget anything, okay? There's like a handful of little things in here that are like typos and just like wrong pronoun agreement with verbs, and like Article 7 is missing altogether. It goes from Article 6 to Article 8. So there's like some things in here. I don't know if this is the kind of the same thing we've done before, like this is just like a previous thing, or if this is a new contract that is open to edits. But handful of things in here, like, oh gosh, where? Doodaloo, one moment. Oh, for example, by his, her, they, instead of his, her, theirs, just that kind of thing. Schedule and appoint instead of schedule and appointment in Article 2, Section G. Just little things here and there that are not like, just some cleanup perhaps.
Need to run that through GPT.
Pretty much. I have a question also about the cost model in, oh gosh, is it section, I feel like it's 6. 1 second.
Yes.
So the total amount due for these services shall be based on the following 3-year schedule, and that it only lists the fee for fiscal year 27. It doesn't say how much we'd be paying for 28 and 29 anywhere. And then later it talks about how fees may be increased or decreased based on personnel that may need to be brought on board. And so it's, if that is implied that we don't know that yet, so we don't have those amounts. But it doesn't state in there whether or not this is a mistake or whether we should see all 3 years of the contract's cost in here. Or if it's expected to stay stable. It just seems kind of vague. If it's possible to have clarification on that.
Yep.
One more piece, it talks about how the billing will be sent out on a quarterly basis, but then the town makes an annual payment for minimum services, but additional services will be invoiced monthly. So there's a quarterly for extras, but then also a monthly for extras, and then an annual payment. So that was a point of confusion for me, wondering how we are actually billed for the stuff, or if it's like separate buckets of things that are billed differently. TLDR, I'm confused, so any,
What does TLDR mean?
too long didn't read?
No, I can, Councilor Thorson, I can give you some answers, I believe. Let's see, I think it's under section 6. Let's see, F, where it talks about the town should make an annual payment for minimum services as described, additional services rendered, let's see. Oh, sorry, E, I missed it by one. Prior to the additional 3-year term, both parties shall meet to discuss contract increases over the life of the contract. I think I could, it may be best to table this, and if you and I could just sit down and look at this together,
Okay,
if you have a moment, or if you want to,
Yeah.
or if you want to email it to me.
sure.
I just want to hit that because I'm concerned about this Article 7, that snuck right by me on that. Generally, what we've done in the past, it's been the annual amount that's been paid, and then they haven't exceeded it. They haven't sent us, in the history of it, an additional amount above it. But I do think it needs to be spelled out as far as if there is going to be an annual increase. I think it's been traditionally in the 3% range. I think this year it's 4% that we had from year over year, from last year to this year. But if we could, and we're going to be meeting again at the end of the month, if you wanted to, if the council would like to consider this, I'd recommend perhaps setting a motion to table to that date certain for June 29th to come back to this. And if you want to send me your listing, and I can go over it as well and circle back with Mr. Gailey, and
Okay.
we can get it clarified real quick.
And then on E, where you're talking about prior to the additional 3-year term, there was a previous mention of how when this contract expires, it's going to renew for another automatic 3-year term unless you tell them before some certain date. So I'm wondering, is that the additional 3-year term that's being spoken about here, or is this our current 3-year term that we only have 1 year's worth
Yeah,
of
it's
cost for?
I believe it's the intent, one person's interpretation would be the intent of if there, when we went to the renewal, what we'd want to know what that number looked like at that
Right.
point in time.
Okay.
So I think that'd be my recommendation at this time, would be to table it, and then to that date certain, and we can circle back on it.
Sorry, everyone. What did you find, Andrew?
No, I have nothing more to add on the sort of that aspect of it. My big question would just be, I don't have an issue with this, but, and maybe this is for, if we're coming back to it, you can go into it then, but what would the other option be? Like if for whatever reason we said no, then what are we looking at? Opportunity Alliance isn't doing it. Is there anybody else, or would that be, we would be on the hook for hiring somebody or taking that, those duties and assigning them to different people within, adding to the workload of the staff here as well?
Yes.
It used to be in-house,
Yeah,
which
it used
is
to be
why
in-house.
it was 3 years ago, because I was here when we voted to make that change, and the finance team was under strain to execute on everything with GA. And so that was why, like, it made sense with staffing, their bandwidth, and then also the privacy element that we kind of mentioned as well. You know, this can be very sensitive, and so having someone that
Isn't participating in the
maybe
community.
maybe isn't a resident of the town that works at the front desk, there's also a level of anonymity, and I think that also when we priced it out, it made sense financially versus the toll and the cost that it was taking on town staff in the finance department.
Simply put, it's cheaper to do it this way. Everything else is gravy, but we do it because it saves money.
Privacy is not gravy. Privacy's
It's an extra, because we did it this way for a century, and now we do it, we took it under consideration because of the cost savings.
Well, it's more cost effective, and to be honest, I think it's a better service, and I think it's more successful for the folks who do end up needing to use it. I'll put it this way: animal control, which we've regionalized with us in Yarmouth and North Yarmouth, has worked great. There's certain jobs that are really hard to fill.
Yeah.
Animal control, GA, crossing guards, things along those lines. Those are really tough jobs just because the pool of applicants is tough to find. But at the same time, I think it's a more successful model to have it outsourced for a lot of reasons. You know, like, again, cost effectiveness. But I do think that, I guess you could say, purely objective person who's professionally does this for as a job takes out that discomfort that a person who may be coming in to apply for it is, because they could come back the next day to register their car, and so, you know, and that way it eliminates some uncomfortable situations for a person. And again, like Councilor Vale said, we just can't, we couldn't do it for that amount of money.
Madam Chair, when you're ready, I'll give you a motion to
Table.
just a heads up. We can't talk about it after we have that motion. So, all right, great.
If everybody's ready.
Everyone's good. Let's hit it.
Madam Chair, I move to table item 26-057.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. We are not allowed any discussion on the motion, so we'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Unanimous, Brenda.
Thank you.
Okay, great. New business. We'll start with you, Mr. Mahalik. What's shaking?
Sure. First, $20 for the food pantry. You know, Route 100, it's kind of literally my front yard. So, you know, for those of you who live in West Cumberland, it's
We're fighting for our lives right now.
it's kind of rough having construction going on, traffic and everything else. Just in my opinion, you know, this project's moving along really well. I mean, Story Brothers has been challenged with a couple water main failures that occurred as a result of compacting the soil they put in. And I really got I was down here for the election results last night, and I think I left here about 9:15, 9:30. And when I got home, they were still working to repair water and everything else, and I don't think they got done until probably 10:30 last night. And, you know, that's some real dedication, you know, to keep people's water on and to keep this project on time, because they were scheduled to pave today. And, you know, it just shows the effort that these people are putting into this project. So hats off to them. Sunday, May 29th, Jesse Lamar Vincent invited me to a work day, I guess, at the orchard of a group of honor students. So I spent the morning shoveling wood chips. And, you know, I just really want to say I'm really impressed with the group of students he had down there. And they're very intelligent and had a lot of good things to say. So I think most of them probably graduated this past weekend, so hats off to them. And the last thing I had was a couple weeks ago, we had an invasive species walk at Twin Brooks, and, you know, it was very educational. It's also kind of scary. You know, it's another problem we have to address in the town. And I want to figure it out, and I think we need to figure it out, and I think we need to put a plan together to figure it out. But it's another one of these expenses that, you know, just pops up in the town that, you know, we're kind of aware of, but do we know the magnitude of it and of how much it's going to cost to fully, you know, mediate this? And I don't know. Maybe we do.
We do. We
yeah.
have invasive management
Okay.
plans for
Yeah.
the town properties, which we can send your way.
Yeah.
But there are, because a lot of the funding comes from the state. And Paul Larrabee, as you know, because you got to walk with him, he's been foundational in creating those plans and also bringing in the data to get the funding.
Yep.
So there are plans, and we can send them your way as well.
Sure. Yeah. No. I mean, I'm glad we got plans. It's just, you know, like that. It's stuff I just feel like we got to share with everyone. Like, I feel like our citizens should be aware of it as well of all of us. And it's great we already have plans, but to me, it's like I learned a lot that day. It's kind of a challenging issue that, you know, I think we got to get our arms around and, you know, just go from there. That's all I have. I've rambled enough, but thank you.
It was a great walk.
Could
Denise?
I just real quick on Jeff's?
Yeah, go for it.
To echo Chig's comment, you know, the LCC, the invasive, they have plans for the town properties. It's just the town properties. Obviously, we don't have plans for any private property and all, but they are looking at doing another sort of talk like they did in the fall, I want to say. A landowner talked to sort of let people come in and ask questions. You know, they had the CCLT there, they had LCC, Town Forester was there, and just between invasives and land use and all. And that might turn into sort of an annual thing where, you know, trying to have that info session for people to look at what they can do on their land, because we can only do so much to get off town land, but if the invasives are, you know, have a breeding spot right up against town land, it's just, you're constantly pushing up against that. But there are definitely efforts to do that, and then as importantly, to plant things back that are not invasive, that will help keep the invasives out. So we're not just, you know, spending good money after bad kind of thing. And all, we can actually try to mitigate and keep them out where we push them out. And so we don't have to just keep going back year after year after year to the same spots. We can sort of continue to move on. But yeah, it's an ongoing thing. And the LCC is coming up with, you know, sort of that longer, you know, multi-year budget of, we think that we can spend this much here, here, and here in this year, and then next year it's going to be this, and next year, you know, the year after that it's going to be that, and all in the amount that they can leverage from the state. You know, they've been able to leverage, I think, at least double what they have. Like, most of the money that comes in is state money, and the state has been looking at Cumberland as sort of the poster child for the way to attack and to handle this. And so, from everything I've heard, the state is really happy with what we're doing, and they're really, you know, happy to continue to give us the money to keep doing it, so they can point to us and say, hey, other towns, this is how you should be tackling this and addressing it.
I know for the landowner workshop, there were people as far as Connecticut that came to our, like all the way from Connecticut just to join this, like, invasive workshop, which is wild, like really, really something to be proud of. And I think also at the orchard, to your point about the repropagation, is the forestry subcommittee has built like an entire, basically like mini tree nursery, so that they can take the baby white pines once they've sort of gone through the frost, right, which makes them more viable, to then replace the area, or like when they take down trees, they'll use kind of this repository to repropagate those areas that are really impacted. It's really cool work on a really overwhelming problem that they've done. Yeah.
Madam Chair, if I could, as
Please.
a follow-up, the council will find in your inbox that there's now a link that you have to all the invasives plans that, invasive management plans that the town has. So at your leisure, you can click on that link. And you did trigger another memory as well, and it's something I forgot to mention in my manager's report, and I apologize for the late arrival. I just wanted to express a moment of thanks for Mr. Robert Maloney, who donated to the town 25 hackberry trees recently.
Oh, cool.
He called and asked if he could donate them because hackberry has been identified as the tree to replace the ash that are currently getting challenged by the emerald ash borer. So this was the recommended replacement species for that. So he called and said, I'd like to donate them. So they came in a box, and I called the before mentioned Mr. Jesse Lamar Vincent with our orchard subcommittee, and just an all-around great guy to work with. And he came that day and picked them up. And so I think he's got them transplanted into little pots to get them established with roots, and then they'll further later graduate to real ground, and then from there, hopefully as replacement trees as we'll need them. So I wanted to express a real nice thanks to Mr. Maloney, who's such a gem of a man. He's just a sweetheart. He stops in, and he called first before he pressed order, so it was awful nice of him. So thanks for that extra moment. I apologize for the late
No,
arrival.
not at all. That's great.
One more thing about the trail walk. I feel like I'm not close enough to this thing. That was interesting when talking to Paul about just his experiences with other towns and invasive management and his day-to-day life working with this stuff and being an expert on it, is the unintended consequences of the glyphosate bans that have taken place in neighboring towns. Because obviously you don't want people dousing their lawns with Roundup or anything and it getting into the environment. But the education piece of it, perhaps, rather than the
Extinction of it.
legislative part of it, where it's something that also is very hard to implement and also hold people accountable, essentially, and how it actually makes his job a lot more difficult, because in order to be able to treat the invasives properly, which he uses an extremely diluted, what is it, take like 1%?
97% water, 3% glyphosate.
Yeah, so watering it down basically to nothing, what you buy off the shelf at like Home Depot or something. But yeah, how that's the proper way to do it. And now in order for him to go around to these towns and treat, he has to go through this very arduous process of registering with the town, logging every single thing that he treats and where he does it, although he already has to do that for the state. So now it's kind of this double dipping job of, I have to report to the state, now I have to report to these individual towns that have these ordinances in place. So that was pretty enlightening for me, because I think we maybe brought that up once or twice, kind of mulling it over because other towns are doing it as well, but it is fraught with other consequences that if we ever went down that road, we would need to learn from these mistakes and figure that out, and ideally kind of more of an education piece on the proper use of these very harmful chemicals, rather than just banning them outright. But the use case for invasives is very specific, and I know the spirit of the ordinance was to, improve things for everybody, but that was enlightening. And then he mentioned, like, yeah, maybe you have a trail walk sometime with representatives from other towns and kind of see how you guys are using it safely, and, the way ideally it'll be done, because like Andrew said, like supposedly Cumberland's like a model for invasives management. And it's awesome, like walking the trails. It was amazing to see everything and how it's been maintained and fixed, and continuing to keep on it. And that kind of reminds me of what Jeff said about kind of like the LCC's plan and the invasives plan as well. Is if others are interested, I would be interested in us having some sort of workshop about kind of the LCC in general, because one thing we talked about on the trail walk was kind of how the LCC's kind of had some scope creep over the years as far as what they're in charge of, and how it ties into their charge and comp plan goals and direction from the council on like what things to prioritize. So I know we have what's stated in charter and ordinances, but the implementation of that sometimes is fuzzy to me, and to me at least, and I do read the minutes, but kind of like if you're looking at like years-long strategy and stuff like that, there's like a disconnect between what I see monthly through meetings and where this is falling into some larger plan. Outside of just invasives, just everything, like whether we're talking about forestry or trails and whatnot, and keeping in mind that this is volunteers volunteering their time and making sure that they're not being burned out by having to take on things that maybe we end up needing a dedicated person for on town staff at some point. But just don't want that to come bite us later when things start to snowball in costs. So, a thing to perhaps look at. That was a lot of talking, sorry.
That's great.
You had less than I did. Don't.
No, I didn't. It's still your turn. Do you have more new business?
No, that's it. That's it.
We went down the
That was the last one.
invasives
Yeah.
rabbit hole.
At the one regionalization meeting that I did attend with Bob, I did bring up invasive management with the other towns, because I think that is some low-hanging fruit that we could all collaborate on, whether that be like sharing a grinder or, obviously having
Like a stump grinder.
a stump grinder.
What?
But also, I know that you have to have a certain state license to be a sprayer for certification, and so whether or not there were certain licensed sprayers on other public works teams that we could share kind of the workload, because obviously all of our public works are juggling really complex schedules on mowing, and this is important to all of us. I know there was interest from the counselor in Freeport. I don't know if she is still on the council in Freeport, but that might be a good place to start as well. But yeah, I'd certainly put some energy into having some of those regional conversations if Bob's got a lot on his plate with regionalization, but I'm happy to help with that. But it's your turn to talk, Bob, so what's happening in your world?
I actually didn't do mine yet.
My wife has informed us that we have an invasive species in our yard that has to be dealt with. The woodchuck has reproduced.
Oh, God.
A what?
Oh my God.
A wood shark?
Woodchuck.
Woodchuck has babies and they're running around the yard, so we'll have to.
Heard the babies, Bob.
Take care of that.
Bob, I'm so sorry, Denise, when you said you were done, I thought you meant you were done.
No, just with that one tangent that we were talking about LCC stuff.
All right, so back to Denise.
Sorry,
Bob, you're
guys.
next. Sorry about that.
I'm sorry, but I'm also not, because I have more stuff to talk about. So you're going to deal with it, or you can just plug your ears. I was unable to attend, but supposedly the Orchard had another 4th grade seed flinging event this week. Hopefully that ended up happening.
The spring fling.
Yeah, that.
I'll tell
that
you all
thing.
about it.
Good. So you can do that. And then I noticed we have our goals workshop, council goals workshop coming up. I'm curious if we are going to do another round of like Clifton Strengths for new people, if that's a tool that we plan on reviving at any time, like if we got value out of that. I feel like I did, but that's a question, whether or not we want to do that, and if we do, if that takes any prep, and if we basically are just comparing our old results with new people's, or if we've grown as people and want to like redo the quiz to see what our strengths and weaknesses are as, team members. But so that's something. What else? Oh, I was hanging out yesterday, I guess. It's been a long 24 hours. Hanging out yesterday out front, and someone didn't have somewhere to put their bike. And so I came and asked Matt, where's the bike racks, Matt? And apparently within the next month-ish, we should have 2 bike racks out front and 2 bike racks over there by the entrance to the town forest or the parking lot.
Actually, I
or
have an
where?
update. We have
Yeah.
some over there already.
Oh,
So we're gonna have at least 2 in front and possibly 2 over on the other side.
nice.
So, but we have 4. Our lovely town planner reached out to me while I was away on vacation and said, I'd like to apply for a grant for bike racks. And it's not a high number, otherwise I would have put it on the council agenda for approval, but we got it. So our Public Works team will prep the site and pour concrete pads, and then they will bolt those right in there. So they'll have, at one point had them out front of the building originally, and I think they went away for some reason, or might have rusted out, or just went away. So, but we'll have some fresh ones here for this summer. So,
Very nice.
yes, that was great. Thank you for reminding me.
Yes.
Done, Bridget. And
I know,
Public
for
Works.
sure, right?
Bridget's a silent killer when it comes to that.
Silent killer of grants. One last thing, because it's important. It is June, therefore it is Pride Month, and this is our first meeting during this month, I think. So wanted to convey my admiration and respect for the community members we have who are members of the LGBTQ plus community. And things happen on the federal and state level that do impact people locally. So this is why I'm talking about it. For some context, in the 2025 and 2026 state legislative session in America, there were over 1,000 anti-LGBTQ bills introduced. 55 of them passed this year across 16 states, impacting critical medical care, employment, vital records, the ability to use the bathroom of your choosing, among other things. This also affects the ability of people in our community to live and work, travel within different states of the U.S. People are avoiding travel specifically because of things like this, like being unable to move about freely and live your life without the threat of being arrested, and just an overall feeling of a lack of safety just existing as yourself. So that's where I'm at. I'm hopeful every day that people are able to live authentically without being harassed and being inundated with hateful speech and laws and whatnot. Trans and LGBTQ people have existed since the beginning of humanity, and they're not going anywhere. So I am proud of our community members for living authentically in spite of how difficult it can be. On that note, the annual Pride Crosswalk rededication at Tuttle and Main will be Sunday, June 28th at 4 p.m. I did not organize this. This was TIG, and this was also Whitney.
Team
So
effort.
It's a team effort here. So that will be happening. There probably will be something put out. I don't know if the library will have any notice about that, but I'll be there. If you guys want to show up, again, Sunday, June 28th at 4 p.m.
There'll be confetti. Biodegradable confetti, because we love the earth.
Indeed.
Mr. Vale.
I've got nothing.
Really?
Outside of woodchucks.
I know, right?
Outside of woodchucks. All right. Councillor Douglas.
I've got nothing. Nothing tonight.
Councillor Magoon.
Just want to, echo what's already been said about the invasive walk. I learned a lot. It was, great to see what happens when you don't do anything, and then what happens when you do something. But the one gripe that I do have is that now that the invasives have been pointed out at what they are, I see them everywhere.
They are
Driving
everywhere.
around our town, other towns, it's really sad how much these things have taken over.
They're driving cars now?
Yes. And then the only other thing is shout out to echo the manager's comments about the election, the staff working it yesterday, the hours that they put in. Polls opened at 6, closed at 8, which meant that people were here before that and after that, doing all this work, some of them the entire time. And I'll just put a plug in. If you are able to volunteer your time on those days, I'm technically actually get paid for it, so it's not volunteering, but if you're able to give up your time to come and work as a poll worker, it's a fantastic experience. I've been able to do it for a few years now, and it's great to see everybody and to see everybody vote and all. And we could always use more people volunteering of all ages and all to do that. It's a great experience.
Do you just reach out to Jen to volunteer? Like, how would someone go about that if they do want to volunteer?
Reaching out to Jen, reaching out to Matt, reaching out, I think, to anybody
Okay.
at the town could get you to the right spot and get you on the list. We've got the November election coming up, which will be
Maybe I'll
another
volunteer.
good one. Yeah,
Do
you
it.
can. As long as you're not on the ballot, you can do it. So, yeah, it's a great experience.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I have a couple things. First up, the comp plan. We are in the final throes of the comp plan, which is really, really, really exciting. So this week, and just like kind of general shout out to obviously our town planner, all of the folks that have been volunteering on this committee for the last 18 months, as well as GPCOG, who's done a tremendous job. We are moving into final phases. I think kind of final revisions are happening tomorrow, and then we move into design, and then there will be a series of public hearings. So much more to come. I think there have been a lot of incredibly spirited, uncomfortable, occasionally like some laughter, lots of snark, but lots of thoughtful, deep discussion. Bob, what do you think?
That's accurate.
Bob thinks that's accurate. Okay. It's been a process, and I cannot thank the volunteers enough. We get into robust council discussion. When you get into zoning, your volunteers are having these conversations, and they are really, really thoughtful, and I don't know what to do for them other than give them a lot of big hugs afterwards, but they deserve our really kind of true, great, deep appreciation. I know they're here to help form the future of their community, but it's a lot of work. And I want to make sure that they all know that they're deeply appreciated. So if anyone has any ideas about what we could do as a thank you, would just love that. And we won't talk about it anymore on the dais. Because we wouldn't want to give anything away. Okay, Spring Fling, one, again, with thank you train. Thank you to Jesse Lamar Vincent. This is a second annual Spring Fling, which is where all of the fourth graders walked down on an 85-degree day to fling seeds into the town orchard. The town orchard, for folks at home, I think it's about 3 years old now. And you should head over there if you ever have the opportunity. The trees are doing really well. Jesse is always looking for people to weed or volunteer. They do orchard work on Sundays, but it's something, takes a little while for trees to grow, but it's happening and it's beautiful. And one of the really cool things they're thinking about is there's an area that may end up being for this year full of sweet potatoes, and those sweet potatoes would eventually go to the food pantry. So thinking about ways that we are nourishing our community, feeding our community, it's a really, really cool thing. So we should be proud of the work that's going on there. And again, so much of that comes down to Jesse and the Orchard Subcommittee, and Ms. Thorson, who is part of the Orchard Subcommittee.
We need more people because I can't a lot of times. I can't help a lot of times. I feel bad, but recruiting.
We're recruiting.
Submit an application if you want to join the Orchard Subcommittee. You can help build the sensory garden for the small children so they can come smell and taste random plants that are safe. They're safe.
It's really cool.
There are lots of things, lots of empty canvas over there.
Awesome. And then last thing, just a big thank you to everyone that came out and voted. Congratulations to Bill Follett. Congratulations to Bill Young, both of you who ran very high integrity campaigns. Congratulations to the winner. We're always excited to have a new counselor up here. And we will save our remarks about the departure for our ravishing Counselor Douglas for the 29th because she is not going to be able to escape that. So that's it. If there was a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? All right, good night and good luck.